Alright, so boom, feel me? You already know what it is. You already know where we at, feel me? I don't have to say too much. Welcome back to the Slowdown Podcast. This is week 6, episode 6, after our mid-season hiatus. If y'all didn't miss me, I'm gonna let y'all know I missed you, feel me? I miss being back on the pod. I miss just yapping. I'm just a kid talking about how I feel about certain issues, feel me? Today's topic is gonna be something that, and I always say this. I know I always say this. Matter of fact, before we jump straight into it, for me, like I said last episode, how you doing? Is you doing good? Is you blessed? Is you safe? You feeling safe? Alright, bet. If you're not, you are now. Alright, bet. So we finna get straight into it. Week 6's topic is finna be one, and I always say this, like I just said, it's something that's on my heart over the past week. I talk about a lot of stuff that like I'll really just be going through, because I be going through it and I be talking straight to y'all, feel me? Now of course I'm not gonna like air like my whole business, for me, because this is still like this is still a pod. I'm still trying to keep this like a sort of space where people can still relate and understand, at least to some extent, what I am saying out my face. But yeah, we just gonna be talking about loyalty and accountability, not to other people, but also to oneself, feel me? I feel like self-loyalty relies a lot in a person's morals, feel me? And whatever you decide to define those as, of course, everybody can judge, but at the end of the day, whoever decides what those morals are is the person themselves. I feel like what you decide to hold, the standard you decide to hold yourself to as a person, says a lot about who you are, for me, and a lot about what you will tolerate and what you will let stand. I know I went through a situation this past week and a half with one of my closest friends. Shout out you. They know who they know who I'm talking about. Where I was so convinced that I was in the right on the situation, and it was kind of sort of like so head first, like I wasn't even willing to see anybody else's perspective on the matter, and I was just so convinced that I was right. But after a conversation with my little brother, shout out you, bro, it took me a minute it was like a call back to myself, because I was like, maybe I'm not right, feel me? Maybe the way that I'm thinking is simply how I'm feeling, simply because I'm like hot. Because I was like, I could definitely say in the moment I was definitely heated, like, because when I get passionate, anybody that knows me for real knows I can get real passionate about certain issues, or if I 100% feel like I'm in the right. Now, I'm not normally this type of person where I'm so headstrong on my opinions, but I genuinely felt that like I was so right in this situation. Like, no matter what nobody could tell me, like there's no way I was gonna back down on that. And then I realized how much of this is ego. And I had to ask myself, like, how much of this for real is ego, and how much of this is like your own pride, your own hubris. Because only I'm not sure where it is, but I've seen in different studies and different studies and just different personal experiences, like that somebody who's not willing to accept correction from other people, or at least some form of constructive criticism, is only running to their own downfall. So then when I had that previous conversation with my brother, it really like just called me to attention. I was like, yo, why are you so hot on this? You ain't never been this hot on nothing in your life. And honestly, the matter wasn't even that big of a deal, if we're being so for real. The matter, like, it was a tiny matter, but we had blown it out of proportion, and all of a sudden, like, it was just spiraling out of control for me. It was just like one of those simple type of situations. I know a lot of you have gone through what I'm talking about with a close friend for me. But I was just asking myself, why aren't you letting this ride? Why are you trying, like, you're gonna die. Like, I was gonna die on this hill, die behind my belief. And that's, in some situations, don't get me wrong, that's a good thing. That's a good feeling to have. I mean, that's, if you make a decision 100% stand on it, feel me? Like, it was like on this, I felt like deep inside me that, like, low key I was wrong, but I wasn't trying to admit that I was wrong. So I did admit I was wrong, but after maybe like a long time of trying to like convince myself and trying to die on that hill, that I was right. And it made me realize something. A lot of people that I know personally, adults and people my own age, my own generation, have to continue a certain way of life, have to continue living their lives a certain way, simply because that was an image that they put outside in the past, an image of themselves that they decided to project onto the world or show the world like, oh, this is who I am. So a lot of people don't even get to change who they are, or they feel they can't change who they are as a person, because if we being for real, anybody can change who they are as a person like this. Like, all you have to do is decide to rebrand and become a better person for me. But a lot of people decide to die on those hills, and a lot of it can lead to sometimes it can lead to death, which is the unfortunate circumstance, you feel me? But if like you can let yourself be changed, and you can let yourself be a malleable person, you don't have to be like, all I'm literally saying is just like, if anyone could realize what I felt in that moment, like that I learned to be open, and I learned to learn to actually like hold myself accountable, because one of the things I admire about myself as a person is that I'm always willing to, not all the time, but most of the time I am willing to take correction from other people, especially people that are older than me. I know a lot of people that are older than me. Majority of my friends are older than me. So they've gone through certain aspects and ways, and they've lived different lives, right, that I haven't lived. So then when I get advice from my friends on those type of things, or from my family, it's just like, oh, it's not like don't do this necessarily not to go through that hardship or go through that experience that they went through, because of course everybody's going to make their own choices, such as even me, I'm going to make my own choices. Like, I chose to die on that hill, right? But if there's an easier way to go about something, why would you not go about it? Even if it means you have to lower yourself, lower your pride from you, but you still end up walking the right path that you have planned out for yourself. I feel like that'd be the smarter option, rather than dying on a hill. And honestly, this goes wherever the shoe fits it, for real, because it's like so many people honestly fall due to an excessive amount of hubris. Everyone knows the saying, pride goes before a fall. And what I realized throughout this week was I would rather keep the people who I treasure in my life, rather than continue to walk my life without them, simply because I thought, or I just chose to like insist that I'm oh so right, like I'm all knowing on this situation. Because these are people around me who I treasure and who have had valuable inputs in the past. So I'm not gonna sit here and ever disregard the friendship that I ever had with any of them. Feel me? And it didn't make, and I'm realizing it now, even because I keep thinking about this to this day. It really didn't make sense, like why I was so willing to die on that hill. Because at the end of the day, it was an argument. Like, you could just dead it end. Especially as me growing up, I'm realizing more and more that it's like a lot of the petty arguments and things do not make sense. And these are things that we as a generation need to hold ourselves accountable to. A lot of people let petty squabbles and small quote unquote beef, feel me, go and walk right ahead of them. And then they let that quote unquote beef, feel me, just direct how they live their lives, who they're nice to, who they support, etc., etc. But my question to that entire way of life is why? Why would you let something that could easily be resolved with a conversation? Because let's be real, a dialogue simply just needs to be open for people to understand each other. It doesn't have to be through violence. It doesn't have to be through discord. All we just need is peace and a dialogue. If we reference the Bible for a second, the only way for Jesus to convey how he felt towards the masses was through talking, was through a dialogue. That was his only way, because it's not like we could read thoughts, right? And it's not like, to my knowledge, Jesus ever squabbled with anybody, right? So if the only way for even, and this is my personal belief, our Heavenly Father, our Maker, if the only way for him to communicate to us was through a dialogue, right? Then why can we not, as people, even whatever you believe in, right? Even whether it's Buddhism, Judaism, whatever, why not as a people, as a population, just open a dialogue? I feel like a dialogue opens, not just opening a dialogue, but opening a dialogue and also being open to what the quote-unquote opposing party has to say, you know? Because if we can just be open with ourselves and open with other people, an understanding of other people and what they're going through, but not letting other people's circumstances completely dictate and rule however we feel. But as long as we can be understanding towards other people, I feel like a lot of things will be solved a whole lot easier. You know, I'm not gonna talk about whatever you may see going on in the news because I'm not fully educated on it. It's not my place, right? But yeah, I feel like a simple dialogue is all people need sometimes to understand each other, hear each other out, to quote unquote resolve petty squabbles, resolve beef. So yeah, that was something I had to hold myself accountable to this week. And I'm glad I did, because at the end of the day, I would have lost one of the like closest people in my life, and I probably wouldn't be like, I would have been okay in the moment, but it's like the long run, like this is like that's something like I really cherish. So it's like I wouldn't want to do that over like a petty squabble. So it's like, yeah. Anyways, I feel like my time is up. I don't want to, talk my ear up, talk your ears off. Actually, that's never been my thing. That's like the whole point of like the shorter episodes. But yeah, I'm gonna catch you next week. I'm not gonna take another week long hiatus. My fault. I think I should have a good grip on school as it is. You feel me? So, yeah, I'm gonna see y'all next week. I appreciate y'all. Whoever taps into this episode, I appreciate you. Thank you for tapping in. Yeah, this has been Slow Down. And I will see you in week 8. Oh yeah, we got three episodes left, and maybe I'm gonna have I'm not gonna spoil it actually. I'm gonna let y'all know season 2 is gonna be a movie production. I'm letting y'all know now. Be excited for season 2, because when I bring it to y'all, when I put my baby down and be like, this is my season 2 of my podcast, I'm gonna be so hyped. Be so turned. I'm not gonna talk your ear off though. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for tapping in. I love you. Peace out, son. Plug.